Hi, good evening, yogis. What's up? Tonight we are going to focus on getting clear and focused, actually. So we're going to do a nice, calming, slow yin stretching. We're going to use a lot of color visualizations and breath work. So just to get started, I always like to start out with the breath. So we're gonna actually start out in child's pose today, and most of you are familiar with that pose. There are yin versions to the pose, which you can use lots of props. I wanted to show you what props I have that you can use, even off your couch. You can use couch cushions, little throw pillows can be handy. I like to use a yoga bolster. And these come in various sizes depending on what you prefer. I like the nice rectangular, they're nice and big, kind of circular too, so it can form to some of the curves of your body. So I recommend one of those eventually. And of course, if you don't have any of these props, that's okay. You can always use stacked up blankets. Here's a block, just a standard yoga block. I like to use 2 of those in my yin practice. Sometimes I don't even use the blocks at all. So they're just nice to have handy in case you might not be able to do one of the poses too well. So, or maybe you're stiff and you're not able to completely open up. So it just allows you to meet your body where your body is at. So I hope that makes sense. And let's just dive right in. So let's start out closing your eyes, tuning into your body. Maybe bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. And as you breathe in, let your belly really expand like a balloon. So pressing your hand out with your belly on your inhale. And as you exhale, squeezing the navel in towards the spine. Good. Emptying out completely. So your only job right now is just to focus on your breath. Bring yourself into the present moment just by breathing in. Allow yourself to expand to full capacity. And then on your exhale, emptying out all the way. Squeeze that navel in towards the spine. Allowing that energy to rise back up and out. Or you're welcome just to have your hands resting, palms facing up or palms facing down. Maybe you need a little extra grounding today, so palms facing down is really great for that. Or just a traditional palms facing up, lightly tapping the thumb to the pointer finger. Good. With the intention to clear the mind, release any stress, negativity, any burdens, doubts, fears. Just continue to focus on letting that go on your exhale. Follow the breath in on your inhale, receive. And on your exhale, just simply letting go. Good. And throughout your practice today, I invite you to utilize a couple of different breaths I like to use in most of my classes, tuning into different elements. So tonight, let's focus on the water element. So that breath is going to sound like a deep inhale through the nose, and on your exhale, you're going to blow out like the wind. There has been a lot of intensity on the planet this year, and especially last month with the fire energy of July, and now moving into the Leo sign, the sign of the sun. We can also utilize the breath of fire. So inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling through the mouth with a deep sigh or a ha sound. Ha! Good. So use those two breaths. Those are the two breaths. Those have been my go-to breaths, medicine breaths for this year to really help release emotional stress, as well as frustration, fear, and anger, panic, all those intense root chakra emotions. Breath of fire, or it's actually the fire breath, not to be confused with the breath of fire. So taking one of those breaths that really help you to release tonight, maybe alternating between the two of those as you feel guided. Good. And continuing to lengthen your inhales, really allowing yourself to slow down. Really increasing that inhale and slowing down as you exhale, pausing in between the breaths to really let yourself float and suspend your breath after your inhale. Just let yourself float there for about 2 to 3 heartbeats, holding the breath and then exhaling slowly out. Squeezing in and holding the breath at the bottom of that exhale, a couple of heartbeats. Now inhale again. That's called the open heart breath. So what that's doing is it's opening the blood vessels in your heart, allowing your circulation to increase. It also has a very calming effect on your body. Really stretch it out. Another little pointer as we meditate here into stillness is just to bring your tongue to the roof of your mouth, in between your two front teeth, just resting at the roof of your mouth there. That activates the pineal gland, which is also your intuitive center. This is your ability to feel and see the truth, your third eye, your intuition, those instincts. You've got your connection to your spirit guides, your wisdom, your higher self. You can also gaze at the point in between the eyebrows, which also helps to increase your intuitive abilities. Good. And let's go ahead and start out with our first yoga yin asana. So let's go ahead and move over to your mat if you're not already there. I'm just going to go ahead and lie down flat on the ground with the soles of your feet together. Let your knees drop out to the sides, palms facing up. This is called Recline Butterfly pose. And if this is a little bit intense for your knees, if that doesn't feel absolutely awesome with gravity, then you can always just tuck a couple of blocks either sideways or flat, or even up a little further. If you're really tight and you just need a little extra support there, throw some blocks under your knees. I'm going to not need those today, but that's just as an example. So find your comfort zone here, find your edge, so that you can still feel the stretch, but you're just at that place where you can feel your thighs starting to open. You can also bring your hands down and just give your thigh muscles a little massage down here. Maybe pushing your hips down. Pelvis. Good. And then relax your upper body. Rest your arms at your sides. And just breathe. Close your eyes, just like we did at the beginning of class. Focus on your open heart breathing and maybe sighing out with the fire element breath or the water element breath. Floating in between the breath as well. Really feel that place between the breath, that beautiful stillness. We hold these poses longer to really activate and stretch deep into that connective tissue, which also holds on to stress, trauma. So we're actually getting into those tissues so that we can really let go. And this is especially helpful during a full moon. We had a full moon Monday. This is a great time to practice yin yoga around the full moon. Soften, invite yourself back into the present moment. If your mind starts to wander, just keep bringing yourself back to focus on the breath. And that open heart breath, inhaling all the way to your fullest capacity. Floating in between the breath. Hold the breath as long as you can. And then exhaling through your mouth. Keep the navel in. Hold for about 2 seconds before your next inhale. Really allow the muscles in your face to relax. Through your shoulders, melting into the earth. Bring your arms out to the sides now, just a little further out to either side of you. Palms facing up for receiving, letting go. And let's bring the knees together. Drop both knees to the right and then to the left. So nice little windshield wiper action here. Maybe rolling your neck as well to release any tension you might have been holding on to in your neck area. Good. So come back to center. Let's hug the knees into the chest. So in between each yin asana, which is just basically a yoga pose, it's a word for yoga pose if you're new to yoga. And in between our yoga asanas, we're going to just do something like this in between. So you have the option to either hug your knees into your chest and maybe rock gently from side to side. You can also roll your knees in a circle with your upper body relaxed on the ground. Make sure you roll in both directions. Get into balancing. Good. Or you could even just roll in one direction during one of the breaks and the other direction during the other break as well. So it's all going to even out in the end. The other thing you can do is just the windshield wipers like I showed you. And again, I'll give you guys a prompt in between each asana so that you can find one that really works for you. And it might change each day, so it's up to you to tune into your body and see what your body wants to do. Happy baby is also another good one. Not trying to pull the spine all the way down. Like a typical yoga class, that would be the goal, but in our yin yoga class, we're really just allowing our body to be where it is in the cold, stretching practice. Unless you're in the heat, then it might be a little easier to stretch. But really getting into those connective tissues, just practicing happy baby here. Maybe if you can't touch your feet, you can just grab behind your knees and pull your knees towards your the sides of your torso that way. Good. Let's release that now. Hug the right knee into the chest and straighten your left leg out in front of you. So, my body's kind of going out of the shot here. I'm going to move up a little. So this one you might need some kind of a pillow like this, or just something where you can rest your knee on. We're going to do a spinal twist. And those are really great for activating the nervous system, resetting the nervous system. So hugging your right knee into your chest, bring your right arm out to the side, gazing over your right shoulder, and then let your knee kind of guide your knee over to the left side, resting on your pillow, your block, your bolster, whatever you have. And really let yourself twist here. If your right shoulder blade is popping off the ground, you might need to add another block or a cushion to lift your knee a little higher. You really want to rest here. You want to feel that resting of the knee. Go a little deeper into that twist. Breathe into this one. The spinal twists are really nice for resetting the nervous system and activating the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to leave you here in silence, stillness, focus on the breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, whatever feels most nurturing. Every single asana that you find yourself in, focus on relaxing, like you're scanning your body from head to toe, relaxing deliberately all the muscles, especially those areas that can tighten unconsciously. That's where we start to bring that mindfulness into our yin practice. Or rather, our yin practice can stimulate more mindfulness into our lives, just to make us more aware of how we're holding our body from moment to moment. Just let yourself melt into the earth. Blend in. This is also a great time to set an intention for your practice. Sometimes we spend a little extra time at the beginning of class doing that. You can always set one anytime you want. Something to dedicate your practice to, maybe energy focus, maybe you're manifesting something, you're letting something go. Dedicating your practice to whatever that is. Maybe create one word tonight. The word for the class is focus and clarity. You can create a little mantra for yourself that you might be inspired by those two words tonight, or just create your own. And when you're ready to release it, let's bring that knee back up to center. Straighten your leg out in front of you and hug the left knee into the chest. And you can bring your pillow or whatever prop you were using onto the right side of your hip. Hug that right knee in, maybe roll the ankles. Do that with both of your feet if you're feeling especially tight there. Bring your left arm out to the side now, really planting that entire arm onto the ground. And the key is to keep that arm on the ground as you drop that left knee to the right side of you, to rest on that pillow or bolster. Really allow your neck to roll over, gazing over the left arm, the left shoulder. And to get a little deeper into the stretch, you can lift your arm a little higher towards the top of your mat. This kind of increases that side body stretch, especially if you have some muscles in your back that get a little tight. Beautiful. Focus on your medicine breath, maybe doing the water breath or fire breath tonight. Or just open heart breathing as well is another option, which is what we did at the beginning of class. Filling your lungs, full capacity. Bending the breath as long as you can on your inhale. And then slowly exhaling and holding the breath at the end of your exhale as long as you can. Surrender. Really focus on the breath. Slowly start to come back, bring that knee back to center. And go ahead and just roll up upright, and we're going to come into a child's pose. So bring your knees a little bit wider on the mat, and I'm going to use my block or my bolster to show you guys what a supported child's pose looks like. So I bring the bolster sort of in between the knees, and then I lower down this way, and you can just bring one side of your cheek onto the bolster and rest. Now, if you're pretty open and flexible, you can just come all the way down without any props into your child's pose. Forehead all the way down. And just breathe. Plugging into the earth here. Feel the earth supporting the weight of your body. This is where you can just drop a vine, a root, or a laser beam. Maybe it looks like a little cord of light, whatever you like to visualize. Imagine that extending from the center of your heart all the way down to the center of the earth. Feel your heartbeat aligning with the heartbeat of the earth, like a harmony and symphony, uniting, Bringing your entire system back into alignment with the rhythm of the earth. The rhythm of the earth is your rhythm. You are nature. Our cell phones, technology, every time you watch movies on your laptop, it gets zapped with the Wi-Fi signal just to scramble our natural biorhythm. It starts to hack into our bodies and create this heat. So that's why we're really connecting to the earth in our practices. A daily yoga practice can help us to just intend to realign, reset, sync up to the natural rhythms of the earth that are completely compatible to our own body. Each one of us. We may all be unique and vibrating at different frequencies, but we're all in harmony with the earth. We are part of the earth. And some of us forget that. In child's pose, this is a great pose to get grounded, reconnect to the earth, however that looks for you. Even just visualize breathing going down into your spine, however you like to connect to Mother Earth, Mother. So for our next pose, you can go ahead and look up to start to prepare for the next pose. We're going to come into frog pose, and of course, if you need to stretch out a little bit, you can lift up and maybe circle around, giving yourself some hip circles, especially if your hips are a little tight today. Good. All right. So for frog pose, you're just going to, you can either use the bolster or you don't have to use the bolster. I'm going to show you what it looks like without the bolster. So I'm going to lean that over to the side. Go ahead and drop down onto your belly like this, and you're going to let your knees come back and kind of come out to the side. So it's called frog pose. It's kind of like reclined butterfly, only for you're on your belly. So you're just going to go ahead and rest like this. And again, one of the modifications is to rest on that bolster or pillow. Whatever you have is going to make it a little less intense if this is a little intense for you. So this is what it would look like modified. You can bring that as low as you want, depending on how that feels for you. Good. The other thing you can do is just do one leg at a time. So if frog pose is just way too much for you today, straighten one leg out and just leave one leg bent. And you can just rest on one of your hands or let your cheek rest on the ground. If you're feeling like you need a little extra grounding, just connect your cheek to the ground and just relax. So if you have one leg up, one leg down for half frog, then I will cue you about halfway through this pose. Otherwise, if you were able to get both of your legs into frog pose, you can just hold it like that for the entire 5 minutes. So timing it now, just relax, let yourself melt into the floor, wherever you're at. Good. If you're holding one half frog pose, you can go ahead and switch to the other side now. And if you're doing full frog pose, you can just turn your cheek the other way and stretch the other side of your neck. Down. Just practice 5 more punches, deep cleansing breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Using water breath or fire breath. And release, straighten your legs behind you. And just kind of rock gently from one hip to the other. Coming into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose, elbows are down underneath your shoulders. Feet can be either wide apart or close together. Just move these blocks out of the way. Beautiful. So from here, we're just going to hold this for about 3 to 4 minutes. This is one of the best stretches you can do for your lower back. We're just going to be here for 3 minutes, and if you want, you can keep your head neutral, close your eyes, find that inner stillness. Or you can half moon your ear from one shoulder to the other, stretch the neck. And finding your way back to stillness. Keep the shoulders away from your ears. Gazing at the point in between the eyebrows. Letting the jaw drop a little bit, maybe bringing the tongue to the roof of your mouth. And 2 to 3 more deep breaths in and out, stretching out of it. Maybe open your eyes a little bit. Very soft. Maybe lion's breath on your exhale. Good. Really letting go, receiving that full detox through the breath. Beautiful. All right, so we've made it all the way to the end of our class. We're going to spend a little extra time in our Shavasana, and we're going to do a little restorative pose, which is going to really help to open up the shoulders. So I invite you to grab something that's kind of linked, has a little length to it. If you need to stack a couple of cushions together, you can do that too. You can also use a couple of blocks like that. so that you have your whole spine covered that way. So just use whatever works for you. And what you're going to do is you're just going to bring your tailbone to the back of your bolster, and then go ahead and lie down. Let your spine peel out onto the bolster. And you can either keep your knees bent, or if you can, straighten your legs. And you can bring your legs a little wider too for a full surrender. And just let your arms fall to the side. And completely surrendering everything to your breath. So just close your eyes. Imagine a wave of calm energy washing over you, maybe blue, green, all those soothing colors, maybe even browns. Lately I've been really connecting to those earthy colors. So let whatever pops into your mind blend with those colors, grounding into your feet, root chakra, those emerald green, deep brown, burgundy, orange, mustard yellow, really nice earth tone. And I'll leave you here in silence, completely surrender and tap in to infinite divine light. If there's anything you need, ask for it. Let go. Just first, completely relax and surrender in order to truly receive and find that flow. We're trying to steer everything and control everything. We may miss that current that rolls up to take us maybe that miraculous place we never would have been to or noticed or done that on our own because it wasn't in the plan. So being open to everything outside of making plans. This is where we can rest when we're connected to our divinity. That pure, receptive yin state, that divine feminine aspect that we all have. Surrender and receive. And now I'm going to just use some colored therapy with the breath as you just allow your breath to just be natural, without any control, letting go your mind. When you bring your awareness to your feet, wiggle your toes a little bit, maybe roll your ankles to really release any tension in your feet. Start to visualize the color red filling you up, coming in through your feet and your toes, rising up through your body slowly. Feel this really grounding energy as this red energy rises through you. Every muscle, every bone, every cell, feeling that connection to the earth. Just let this red energy continue to rise through you to the top of your head. Feel your connection to Mother Earth. Know that you have everything that you need. Every resource is given and provided. And tapping into that divine abundance, prosperity, truly is an energy and a currency. The currency is like an energy. If you think about that word, currency, it is a vibration and a flow of energy. So what is your relationship to having what you need? Do you feel like you have everything you need right now? And really breathe into that. Notice what comes up for you. We're going to spend the rest of our Shavasana just focusing on that root chakra and that rose, ruby, red color. You can start to even visualize roses surrounding you, maybe rose petals as well. You might even be able to smell roses as you inhale. Allow this infusion of this beautiful red energy to balance your root chakra, your connection to the earth, your support, your needs being met. Just continue to imagine tree roots or vines growing out of the back of your body, all along your spine, your shoulders, even the back of your neck, your head. Just letting these roots grow into the earth, deep into the root system. So now you're starting to connect to the wisdom of the trees, the elders, the ancestors, the ancient ones. And if there's any advice that you need right now in your life, ask the trees. The trees will send you the message through the root system that you're connected to. Surrender here. I'm going to leave you in the silence to receive and become totally open and receptive to any messages that your guide, your higher self might want to give to you in this restful state. Open, breathe, and receive. Continue to rest here, listening and breathing into this restful moment. And as you continue to rest and listen for messages, I'm going to pull a card from the Rumi deck. The impossible made possible. I love that. Love brings the sea into boiling and turns the mountain into a pebble. Love creates infinite openings in the dark sky and shudders the earth with its magnitude. I love that. I'm going to read that one more time. It's a beautiful Rumi poem. Love brings the sea into boiling and turns the mountain into a pebble. Love creates infinite openings in the dark sky and shudders the earth with its magnitude. And there's this beautiful, what looks like a planet launching out of this galaxy, like a galactic center. So powerful. It's kind of like these cosmic events that are happening right now on the planet. We're surrendering to that as we allow the impossible to become possible. Kind of like opening up to miracles for the first time. A lot of us were conditioned not to question anything and just not to believe that that's even possible. And really, when you just open your mind to what's possible, it's quite remarkable what that can open up. It's like opening up a magical portal. And so I'm going to continue to read from this beautiful card, this Rumi deck by Alana Fairchild. She spins this great earth goddess upon invisible strings amongst the wildly pulsating ballet of life. Stars are born, live and die all around her. Life moves in constant flux, and still she spins in her great, loving, constant pirouette. How can this be? All of creation is born from nothing. Out of endless silence and darkness, light emerges. What strange magic is this? The sun heats the solar system and burns with the power to destroy life, yet it is the force by which life is sustained. Surely this makes no sense and cannot be. We dance in the realm of the impossible made possible constantly, every day, you and I. We are so engrossed in it, so familiar with it, and yet blind to it, that these constant impossibilities happening in every moment fail to inspire us. So true. There are so many miracles happening constantly all around us, within us. Yet what are your biggest, boldest, most extraordinary, impossible dreams compared to this great impossibility of life itself? They are but tiny seeds in the Creator's masterful hand, being now planted in the heavenly garden. Yes, they are being planted right now, for the moon tells us the time is right. Most tenderly shall they be watched over, nurtured into fullness according to the season. Yes, that growth is assured. The impossible is now made possible. So kind of like when we plant a seed into the earth, it really does take faith to trust that that seed is actually going to nurture itself in many ways, or be nurtured by the creative forces of the sunlight, the water, the rain, and then that little sprout bursting through the soil exactly when it's ready in season. A lot, pretty much, I would say 90% of our lives are lived in faith, yet we've just been conditioned to think that that's just how it is. But really, it's pretty remarkable what creation really is, the creative forces, when we really just step back and appreciate it. So I'm going to leave us there I really highly recommend this deck if you even want to bring your own deck to class and pull your own cards. It's really nice. It's a nice little evening ritual especially. So thank you so much for joining me for Yin Yoga. You're welcome to start to wiggle your fingers and your toes if you're still lying there in Shavasana. And let's have our closing feel to our practice. So just slowly make your way back up to an upright seated position with your eyes closed and your hands pressing together in front of your heart, maybe even lightly touching your thumbs into your sternum to activate your heart center. And as you breathe in, I want you to just imagine a beautiful emerald green star at the center of your heart. Breathing into that beautiful star, feel it illuminating all around you, however far out you want it to go. Maybe you need a little extra security lately. Maybe when you're going to the store, you feel like you need like a nice big protective barrier. I want you to just visualize that green light extending around you, however thick you want this beautiful bubble of love around you. This is your protective force. You can also visualize blue light. That's a very protective energy, as well as gold. I like to use both. So visualizing that blue light around me with a gold, like a little thin gold shield. You can visualize this golden shield around you, helping you to stay in a higher vibration, a higher joyful energy, so that anyone who might be in fear or stressed out, most of the time, if you do this shield practice, and all you have to do is just take a second, just like we are now, and visualize this golden light around you and just say shield up. Most of the time, you're not going to encounter people at that vibration. Just because you did that, you took that time to protect yourself and keep your vibration high. So let's end our class with 3 shared breaths together. You're welcome to dedicate all 3 breaths to yourself, especially if you're working on self-love. I know I am this year. So dedicating all 3 breaths to yourself, or you can dedicate one to yourself. Make sure you always bless yourself first. Maybe then giving that love to each other and our connection. Anyone who's joining into this recording of this classroom, sending it out to all of our friends and family joining tonight, as well as sending it out to the planet, the politicians, all of humanity, maybe even the animals, the plants, the earth, blessing them, blessing this beautiful planet that we live on with gratitude. So here we go, deep breath in, let it out. Inhale, expand, and let it out. One more deep breath in, take the biggest breath you can. Keep expanding, sip in a little extra breath at the top and float. When you can't hold it in any longer, just let it out. Good. Let's chant Om to seal our practice. Here we go, deep breath in. Om. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself tonight. It is my experience and belief, my philosophy, that when we heal ourselves and show it for ourselves, then we can start to do our service for others and show it for others. So thank you for holding your light bright on this planet. It really does make a huge difference. Your light is so needed right now. So thank you for blessing yourself tonight. And I would just like to take a moment to bless you and our connection, our divine connection, by saying namaste. All right, thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening, morning, whenever you're tuning into this. Namaste.